So you might be thinking this is kind of weird. This is a Philadelphia Flyers video, right? Well, why are we on the Twitter page of Mitch Gallo, who is the co-host of Campbell vs. Gallo from 10 to 2 on TSN 690 in Montreal, Quebec, Canada? Well, we're using Mitch Gallo's tweet from earlier in the weekend to dive into the introduction for this piece. Because today, we're taking our sights over to Philadelphia and talking about the drama between Matvei Michkov and Sean Couturier. Drama? Is there even any drama? I don't know. You can let me know in the comments. Is there actually a narrative that is worth discussing, or are we just blowing this out of proportion? Let's take a look at Gallo's tweet from November 9th, yesterday. Here's a recap on what Matvei Michkov has gone through the past little while. He gets called out by his veteran captain, yelled at a veteran coach on the bench, he showed up out of shape, he got in some accident in Dubai where the details are shady, he cheats for offense and doesn't backcheck, and there were question marks in his draft year. He had issues with coaches in the KHL. You know what? Trust Kent Hughes. And for the unassuming Montreal Canadiens fan who remembers the story of Matvei Michkov in the 2023 NHL Entry Draft, if you saw this tweet and you didn't know what was going on, you'd be like, okay, wait a minute, what? Michkov is getting called out by his captain and he's out of shape and he got into an accident? What's going on with this guy? To be fair, Mitch's tweet is a little harsh on the kid. Couturier is being yelled at by his own fan base. There's a heated exchange. You don't know what happened. You know what? Let's just dive into where this all started. And this entire debate, this entire controversy was started the other day when the Philadelphia Flyers were playing off against the Ottawa Senators in overtime the other day. This is the play. It's an innocuous overtime clip where Matvei Michkov has the puck, he cuts across the neutral zone diagonally, and then he breaks into the zone. But unfortunately, as you can see underneath the Philadelphia 2 scoreboard sign, the captain Sean Couturier near the Surfside advertisement is way offside. And that's it. That is what we see. Michkov takes the puck in offside because Sean Couturier enters the zone early. They go over to the bench, and Sean Couturier, if you just watch the clip over here, he looks really frustrated. And then he kind of gives a glance over to Matvei Michkov. Now, I mean, look, the glance goes on for a while, but there was enough ammo here for Montreal Canadiens fans to start buying into the idea that Couturier and Michkov are maybe not on the same page like they had once been. And this tweet even goes out there and says, I'm just going to repost the initial video that was randomly deleted. This was the Michkov and Couturier sequence that started it all. Make your own judgments, but to me, Couturier looks mad at himself for going offside. Hathaway giving him an "it's all good" tap echoes that, in my opinion. Now, normally this would be seen as like, okay, it's just a normal thing. A guy goes offside, and then the captain's kind of upset. He's looking at the guy afterwards. But things got even more interesting when Sean Couturier was interviewed. And we have ourselves this post made on sportsnet.ca that gives us Couturier's comments. He says that Matvei Michkov must help in other ways amid his goal-scoring woes. Now, let's scroll down and read here. This is what Sean Couturier said into the media after the Flyers ended up losing to the Ottawa Senators. Matvei Michkov is a great goal scorer. He has a ton of skill. I think you just gotta find a way to contribute to helping the team win in other ways when you're struggling. You're not always going to be scoring goals every game. So, I've seen improvement in the way he's not cheating as much and being on the right side of pucks. I'm sure it's a little different for him. If he sticks to playing more of the right way, I think it's going to be better for the team overall. When later asked if it appears that a weight has been lifted off of Michkov's shoulders after netting 2 goals in 2 games, Couturier was cryptic in his response. "I think you could tell tonight he was trying to make a lot of plays with the puck, holding onto the puck. So I think he's definitely feeling good about himself." If there was any tension between the skilled second-year winger and the captain, it seemed to have been squashed with a good night's sleep, with Couturier joining Rick Tocchet in a side session with Michkov following Sunday's practice. "We were just out there today and I was with him on the board about something. I forget what it was. Coots came over," Tocchet told reporters on Sunday. "Right away, Michkov is looking at Coots. I can tell. Michkov really respects Coots. There's something there, so I think that's valuable. Coots has got a good way of delivering a message." So, there you go. Situation squashed, right? In fact, I'd be remiss if I didn't mention that the fact is here, Matvei Michkov did score a beautiful goal against the Ottawa Senators, which allowed the game to even get to overtime in the first place. Now, his total on this season, 8 points in 15 games, it's on pace for 43 points, which would be a decline from last year. Everybody's been talking about the way Rick Tocchet coaches this team and how Matvei Michkov is one of multiple Russians who have not excelled under the way Tocchet wants this team to play hockey. And there are now conversations as to whether or not there actually is something going on in terms of Michkov's teammates not liking him or whatever. I mean, it's gotten even more dramatic when you look at some of the other tweets that have been posted. For example, this is the goal that Michkov scored against against Ottawa 2 nights ago. And the celebration, it's a typical Michkov celebration. He cheers, he goes into the glass, and he fist bumps his teammates. Tony Escargot went out there and said this: "I do wonder if there's something going on behind the scenes with Michkov in the locker room. Couturier gave him that look in 3-on-3, and I noticed that no one on the ice really reacted with any emotion when he scored a beautiful goal. Not even stick raises when the puck goes in." Now, at this point in the game, the Flyers were down 2-0, and then they ended up scoring to make it 2-1. But you can notice it here. None of the Flyers raised their hands. None of them put their sticks up in the air. I mean, a lot of folks are going out there and saying, like, hey, it's almost like coming to camp out of shape pisses your teammates off. That was already reported here, too. Michkov apparently got into an accident, and it prohibited some of the things he was able to do, and he focused more on gym work rather than on-ice training. Maybe they didn't react because they were playing from behind, and more work needed to be done. But you also have yourselves another conversation. You see, this is the video clip that Sean Couturier had where he said that Michkov needs to contribute in other ways. Get Pucks Deep went out there and said this: "A captain doesn't talk about a teammate like this. I'm sorry. Michkov got them back in the game yesterday. This guy blew an offside in OT that hurt his team. Zero accountability. Sean Couturier is a holdover from a bad culture." And again, you can agree or disagree with any of the stuff that we showcase here in these videos. I'm just reading stuff on Twitter. Captain of a hockey team is annoyed that an offensively driven player on his team wants to score more goals. Yeah, he's a great goal scorer and he has a lot of skill. You can just hear how badly he wants to say, but he's been with the team so long when we never really had any skill players beyond Giroux. Sean Couturier has a disdain for skill. Another reply from Steeler Hab says, "They straight up hate Michkov, which is crazy and sad. That's a culture problem and that starts with the captain. If there's a kid who isn't doing things the right way, you don't throw him under the bus, you take him under your wing." Pathetic stuff by Couturier. And then there are some other folks that are defending him, saying there's nothing wrong with what he says here. Counter-argument, that's not something that should be said into the media, that this player needs to be able to contribute in other ways beyond just providing skill. But the written text about it doesn't seem as bad when you just look at the message that Rick Tocchet says. So, ultimately, I don't have an answer for you. If there actually is any drama or beef or whatever, all I'm doing is just reading stuff that I see online. And I want you to let me know your thoughts in the comments. How do you respond to all of this? Is there beef? Is there a displacement of responsibility here? Is there immaturity? Is it appropriate for Sean Couturier to talk about a player on his team like this? And is it a coincidence that Andrei Kuzmenko, Vasily Podkolzin, Ilya Mikheyev, And now Matvei Michkov were never able to succeed under Rick Tocchet. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. I hope you enjoyed this video. And bye.